Welcome dear students. In this lecture we are going to see the topic called as urea cycle, or it is also known as protein metabolism. Urea cycle, as the name indicates, it is a cyclic process, and this process takes place in liver. Okay, mostly it takes place in the liver, and in the liver the parts are mitochondria and the cytosol. Okay, so this cycle, it takes place in the liver, in the compartments of, or in the parts like mitochondria and cytosol. So some reaction it occur in the mitochondria, first and second step it takes place in the mitochondria, and some the remaining steps they take place in the cytosol. Okay, so first you have to keep in mind it is a cyclic process. Second point you have to keep in mind it takes place in a liver. Okay, in the cell part called as mitochondria and cytosol. Some reaction is carried out in mitochondria and rest reactions are carried out in a cytosol. It is a cyclic process. To initiate the urea cycle, we require 3 molecules of ATP, 1 molecule of ammonium ion, and 1 molecule of amino nitrogen of aspartate. तो आपको क्या लगेगा? You will require ATP, you will require ammonium ion, and you will require amino nitrogen of aspartate amino acid. If we will see the history of this urea cycle, which is also called as the protein metabolism, it is the first metabolic cycle, first metabolic pathway to be introduced. It was discovered by the scientist called as Krebs-Henslett. Okay, it was discovered by the scientist called as Krebs-Henslett. Hence, it is also called as Krebs-Henslett urea cycle. And the discovery of this urea cycle, it was discovered 5 years before the TCA cycle. Okay, it was discovered 5 years before the discovery of TCA cycle, and primarily, mainly, it takes place in the liver and to a less amount in the kidney, in a very rare, in a very lesser amount, but probably, mostly, primarily it takes place in the liver. Okay, now what are the properties of urea? Urea cycle, if we will speak about this urea cycle, it is a chemical reaction. It is a chemical reaction. Okay, chemical reaction of a body that converts toxic form of waste, that is ammonia NH3, into a less toxic form called as urea. That is the overview of urea cycle, and then further urea will be converted to urine and excreted throughout and excreted through the body. Okay, so that is the concept of urea cycle कि ये chemical process है जो toxic form body produce करती है, यानी कि toxic form कौन सा? Ammonia. Okay, it is a very toxic form, very large toxic form. This very toxic form is converted into less toxic form, और less toxic form क्या है? Urea. And then further urea is converted to urine and it is excreted out through the body. Okay, so ammonia, it is very toxic, so body cannot store it. ठीक है, ammonia कहाँ से आया है? Ammonia, it is the product of protein metabolism. Okay, hence the name is also given as protein metabolism. Ammonia क्या है? It is the metabolite product of protein. जब हमारे बॉडी में प्रोटीन ये मेटाबोलाइज होते हैं, then it forms the ammonia, and ammonia is very toxic for the body to store. Hence, it is important to convert this ammonia into less toxic form so that it will be excreted out of the body in the form of urine. So, this ammonia is converted into less toxic form called as the urea. So, with the help of the carbon dioxide, अब ये यूरिया और कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड ये दोनों हार्मफुल प्रोडक्ट है. Okay, so this urea and urea with the help of carbon dioxide, it has been excreted out, urea has been excreted out, and that is called as urea cycle. Okay, it is called as the urea with the help of carbon dioxide is converted into the urine, and then it is excreted out. Okay, so the general idea is very simple. Ammonia is been formed from the protein metabolism, and this ammonia is very much toxic. Our body cannot store it, so this ammonia is converted into less toxic form called as urea. Urea will be concentrated and converted to urine, and then it will be excreted out of the body, called as the urea cycle. Okay, so that is the overall definition or concept behind the urea cycle. And this cycle is very important to keep body healthy, to keep the metabolic rate proper. Okay, so it is very important to keep the body healthy. And even mammals, most of the mammals, they follow the urea cycle, because it is very important to excrete this urea out of the body or ammonia out of the body. Okay, so for proper functioning, it is very important to carry out the urea cycle. Mammals follow the urea cycle. Birds produce uric acid, which are in the form of crystals, instead of urea as a excretory product. Okay, so that has been there. If we will see the properties of urea, it is non-toxic or toxic to a less amount. Water soluble, it combines two waste products into one molecule, carbon dioxide and ammonia. Okay, as I told, to convert or to form the urea, we require carbon dioxide and ammonia. Okay, ammonia, it is generated from the protein metabolism. So what are the pros of urea against ammonia? Means, why urea, why not ammonia? The main reason is that ammonia is very toxic. Our body cannot store that toxic form, so it must be quickly converted into urea and then excreted out of the body. Liver contains a system of carrier molecules and enzyme which converts ammonia to urea. And liver, why this process takes place in the liver? It contains carrier molecule, it contains enzyme which help to convert this toxic ammonia into less toxic form, called as urea. If we will see the overview of this cycle, then in this, ammonia is combined with the carbon dioxide to form carbamyl phosphate. Now this process takes place in the mitochondria. Okay, and then further in the cytosol. This carbamyl phosphate is then combined with the ornithine. Okay, carbamyl phosphate is combined with the ornithine and forms the citrulline. Citrulline, it is further converted into arginosuccinate. Arginosuccinate is further converted into arginine, and then there is release of urea and back converted into ornithine. What is the detailed process of this conversion, that we will see in our next lecture. Okay, in today's lecture, in this lecture we are seeing the background history of urea cycle, the introductory part of urea cycle, what is urea, where it actually takes place. Okay, that points we are taking into consideration in this lecture. Okay, so let me tell you about ornithine and citrulline. What is this ornithine and citrulline? Ornithine and citrulline, these are the basic amino acid. Okay, ornithine and citrulline, these are the basic amino acid which are never found in the protein structure. Though they are amino acid, but they are never found in the protein structure. Why? Due to lack of codons. There is no any codon to code this amino acid, called as ornithine and citrulline, but they play vital role in the urea cycle. Okay, so ornithine and citrulline, these are basic amino acid which are never found in the protein structure due to lack of codons. Okay, and this citrulline, it is not present in the tissue protein nor in the blood, but it is present in the milk. That is also one property of the citrulline. We can say that it is not found in the tissue, not in the blood, but it is present in the milk. Okay, and the rest are amino acids. यहाँ पर urea cycle actually it is as it is the protein metabolism, so it consists of different amino acid, and this is the structure of urea. NH2 C double bond O NH2. Okay, so this is the structure of urea, further which is concentrated and converted into urine and excreted out of the body. Now in the formation of the urea, 6 amino acid participate, that are ornithine, citrulline, aspartic acid, arginosuccinic acid, arginine, and N-acetyl glutamate. So these are the 6 amino acid which participate in the urea cycle formation. Overview of urea cycle already we have discussed in the diagram, but let's see in the theoretical manner. Urea synthesis, it is a cyclic process. The first two reactions of this cycle, it occurs in the matrix of the mitochondria. As I told, it takes place in the mitochondria, in the matrix of the mitochondria, and the remaining steps, it occurs in the cytosol. Okay, this point you have to keep in mind. The first two steps, it takes place in the matrix of mitochondria, and the rest, it occurs in the cytosol and in the liver. Okay, since the ornithine consumed in second reaction is regenerated in the last reaction, so there is no loss or gain of ornithine, citrulline, arginosuccinate or arginine. See, as it is a cyclic process, so there is no any loss or gain, it is back regenerated. Okay, so here ornithine is consumed, as it is started from the ornithine and converted into citrulline, but this ornithine is back generated. Even other molecules are also back generated in this cyclic process. Ammonium ion, carbon dioxide, ATP and aspartate are consumed. So these are being used, these are utilized. Okay, and aspartate can be resynthesized from the released fumarate by a series of reactions. So aspartate can also be resynthesized from the fumarate. So aspartate, fumarate, these are the intermediate products of the urea cycle. Okay, and this aspartate can be resynthesized from the fumarate. Okay, so what is the urea cycle? This was just an overview of urea cycle, introduction about the urea cycle. In our next lecture, we will discuss the steps about the urea cycle. I hope the introductory part will be clear to you, so that the steps ये और भी आपको easily समझ आएंगे. Thank you.